enjoy it that much at all. Okay, now before that, my head is absolutely confused. I didn't write too much pre-show notes down, so sorry, I should have said that before we got the Intercontinental Championship on the pre-show, we actually got the Battle Royal, the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, which had some very entertaining spots in it. First of all, I couldn't quite gauge where WWE was going with it, but I couldn't. The whole thing with the Big Show going out the way he did was just awful for me, because this guy, it's his last WrestleMania, and what a terrible way to go out, just hopelessly. Really, it was just pathetic, wasn't it? It wasn't even like it was at the end or anything like that. He didn't do anything spectacular in it. It was just part of the numbers by the end of it. Braun Strowman, a lot of people were like emailing in saying that they couldn't believe that WWE didn't use the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal as a way of getting him over again. But the thing is with Braun Strowman, I think he's past the Battle Royal. If you listen to our pre-show, I think both myself and Matt both kind of agreed with that. So I didn't feel like it was something that he had to have. But I did feel like for a guy like Sami Zayn, this would be perfect. And I was kind of thinking along the lines of Sami Zayn or Luke Harper when Braun and Big Show got eliminated. But it became very clear that after a while that wasn't going to happen either. And by the end of it, Mojo Riley, Jinder Mahal, it was always going to be Mojo, because I'd seen all these videos go up of him, and I thought, oh, okay, WWE are finally going to do something. It's worth pointing out that what was his name? Time Bing from China made his debut. They seem to be really making a big deal out of that, and that was basically because the WWE network has just started to run in China. So WWE were trying to make sure that this guy has a good outing, so that obviously the Chinese audience can relate to something on this pre-show. He didn't do anything spectacular when he went out. It was a pretty poor attempt in a lot of ways for that one. But one of the more funnier things that happened in this was when the Mojo Riley Rob his partner on the outside in the audience was from the American football was there, and how funny was it when you saw the security woman go straight up to him trying to not let him in over the guardrail. It would have been more funny if it was a match and it was a pinfall that he needed to break up or something and he didn't make it, but nonetheless she was there. I can't imagine what Vince was thinking backstage when Gronkowski couldn't get in to the ring, and how Vince was on his headset. It would have been like, God damn it, higher, strong, sexy, powerful. You know how Vince is with those ladies. I mean, I felt like perhaps that's Sister Abigail that we don't know. But she sort of had her own WrestleMania moment. From that moment in, I mean, he came in, he helped Mojo out, and then of course it was always all down to Mojo Riley winning the Andre the Giant Battle Memorial match. It was pretty awful, to be honest with you. There wasn't too much good stuff about this. I mean, it was what it was. It wasn't terrible, and I think for a pre-show match, it was actually quite good in that context. But I think as far as a spectacle and all the rest of it, being a big thing every year, I think it's getting weaker and weaker. I gave this just a 2 stars as well, because there just wasn't a lot in it to get me excited about. The idea that Mojo's won this, I kind of feel like it's a little bit like last year when Zack Ryder won the Intercontinental Championship. So I don't know how much long term there is in this, but all the best luck for him, because obviously he has got his fans, but it's just how willing WWE is to giving this guy a shot, and you know, trying to make sure that he gets over the hurdle for some bigger stuff. So, yeah, that was the pre-show. I think it's worth pointing out as well that those guys all performed in a lot of heat. Like, I think when it kept going up to the panel with Renee Young, they kept making the point that it was really, really hot, and how the wrestlers were going to cope with that. And I think that I think you could certainly tell it was going to play a part in some of those earlier matches. So anyway, we let's move on, because we get onto WrestleMania's card now. Yeah, so we started. I mean, this first of all, this was an interesting way to start the show, and I did not see Shane McMahon, AJ Styles as a potential match that would kick WrestleMania off. But watching it back, I mean, it was a great call. This was the match that I was least excited for on the entire night, including Dean Ambrose and Baron Corbin, if it had have made it, because I just felt like AJ was just not really going to be used that well in this. But what can I say? I mean, overall, it definitely surprised me in a good way, and I really enjoyed it. I think Shane was doing freaking chain wrestling at the beginning of it. If there's just small things I didn't like in it, it was the fact that, I'm not a fan of a non-wrestler having that much offense on somebody of the caliber of an AJ Styles. I mean, it was a similar thing with The Undertaker last year, but AJ Styles, come on. The idea that he could kick out of a Styles clash, that didn't really sit well with me. I wish they hadn't have put that in. That's something they could have left out, and then this would have been absolutely fine with me. But when I saw that, I didn't enjoy it all that much, and there was like the whole silly Shane McMahon punches. But I suppose you got to let it pass, because overall this match did do very, very well, and fans were really into this, so it was a good move. I think in my notes, I mean, obviously there was no surprise that Shane McMahon absolutely got booed to high heaven for quite a lot of it, and of course people, it's because people really respect AJ Styles as a wrestler, and I think we all knew he could have been doing something so much better. So he was really playing almost like the baby face in this match, which was interesting. Shane done the shooting star press. That was his like big moment, along with the coast to coast with the corner, the turnbuckle to the other turnbuckle with the bin. But doing the shooting star press, I mean, that's pretty impressive for Shane O'Mac to be doing that. But overall, I felt it was a good, entertaining match, good way to kick it off, and it was quite a long match as well. And I felt like they had me. I certainly was not taking my eyes off the match, so I was very interested in it. And that match just went just under 22 minutes. I score that match. I never thought I'd say this, especially when I previewed this, but yeah, Shane McMahon versus AJ Styles, for me, this was a 3.5, because you got to think, even if this was at another pay-per-view, this would have probably stole the night in a lot of ways. And actually, I've heard a lot of people say that this was the best match of the night. So that's quite a big, bold statement right there. But I think the positive thing was the winner, the correct result happened, and AJ won. I was very happy with that. If there was anything about any other things I'd have critiqued, it would have been just the way they perhaps laid it out slightly, with when some of the high spots happened. But overall, this was a good opening to a WrestleMania. Actually, one of the more better WrestleMania openings than I've seen in a long, long time, that had everybody interested in it. I've actually thought that was really good, and those guys worked very, very well together. So yeah, it was a nice, surprisingly nice relief, I suppose, that went down well. And yeah, very, very impressive there from that. I just hope that doesn't now mean that Shane thinks he can sort of go on and have a WWE title shot at SummerSlam or something like that. But who knows? Okay, next up is the WWE United States Championship match between Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens. This could have easily, I mean, on paper, I suppose this is the match I would have gone with to kick WrestleMania off with, but in a lot of ways, WWE, I think, probably got it better than I would have done and went with Shane and AJ, and I think that was a better call. But on paper, this would have been the match I go with. This obviously the feud and everything had been going on for some time, so it was always about it. First of all, the entrances for Jericho, I really enjoyed that. Like, you could really see everything completely lit up when Jericho come down, and it was like the first entrance of the night where the whole set was being used in all different ways for somebody's entrance. And just as a side note on the whole setup to the entrance, it was absolutely incredible last night. I mean, I felt like it was probably one of the best ones they've done, with the whole giant ring on top. The only thing I will say is a lot of people that were there live, they did have some problems with obstructions and stuff like that when they was in the audience. And I think that the lightness of the lights at the one end was so bright that people couldn't see down that well, and I kind of know what people mean by that, because I've seen that before when I've gone to a WWE show, so God knows what it's like on a big stage like that. But yeah, Chris Jericho versus Kevin Owens, they brawled straight away. It's kind of as you'd expect in this kind of a feud, but this was, for me, this was a really, really good match, and they really lived up to having a good match between each other, and I enjoyed all the counters and the stuff with the Walls of Jericho, and when Owens did it as well, and he had it on him. I thought it was really good, and both guys working really hard, and good playing off their feud in what they'd done, and how like he wasn't his friend and all the rest of it. Like they done a really good job of telling a good story in that match. This one just under 17 minutes for this one, and of course Kevin Owens becoming the new United States Championship, which was definitely the right decision. Obviously Jericho at some point, I don't know it's immediately like straight after WrestleMania, you might get another pay-per-view out of him yet, but he is going to be sailing off to the sunset with Fozzy for a little while. So in the pre-show, I mentioned that I would have liked to have seen them stay together for a bit longer. I still feel that way now, but the fact we got this match when we did at WrestleMania, I still very much it was a great match, and I felt like it was very well booked. Overall, I gave this one a solid 3.5 stars. Really good match. To be honest, I mean, this could have easily got 4. I think the only reason it didn't is perhaps the feud just didn't run long enough. Like it did seem to all come together very, very fast, but I think it needed to be a little bit more to it. But the match itself, definitely nothing wrong with it. And again, on another night, on another pay-per-view, this could have easily been like the best match of the night. So this definitely hit all the right spots. Okay, a few little side notes now. Obviously, we had the New Day as the WrestleMania hosts. I was really kind of interested to see how WWE was going to handle that, how they were going to produce them. Obviously, they came out at the beginning, got a huge pop from the crowd, and I think they got all the right responses from the WrestleMania crowd, which is good, because that's arguably what you want. And I didn't feel like they were going to come across too overbearing, which was always important to this. And how they work for WrestleMania. So I enjoyed seeing those guys. I thought they were really good hosts, but obviously we'll get to them as we go further along. On a side note, I do want to say one of the best